You're programming your brain to be passive.
That's a little scary, but also hopeful.
Very hopeful. Because if you force yourself to switch the verb, if you just ask, how can I deal with this?
You know that feeling when you're stuck in a meeting? Maybe it's 4 p.m. on a Friday, and the speaker has just been going in circles for 20 minutes.
Oh, absolutely.
Or you're sitting in traffic, just inching forward, and you feel that tightening in your chest.
It's that universal feeling of frustration. It's the moment where you have to decide, am I going to say something or am I just going to sit here and, stare at the wall?
Exactly. And that is what we are digging into today, because in English, there's a huge psychological difference between just taking it and actually doing something about it.
And the interesting part is that the difference isn't just in your actions. It's in the specific words, the verbs you choose.
That's right. I mean, we think of vocabulary as just labels for things, but really the words you use frame your entire reality.
They tell the listener if you're a victim in the story or a survivor or the problem solver. It's all about agency, isn't it?
Precisely. How much power do you feel you have? So today, on this deep dive, we're looking at what I like to call the endurance spectrum.
We have 4 heavy hitters on the roster today. We've got put up with, deal with, cope with, and can't stand.
These are phrases that I think intermediate learners, and honestly even some advanced speakers, tend to mix up. On the surface, they all just mean I have a problem, but the nuance is everything.
Oh, wait. It is. If you use the wrong one in a job interview or when talking to your boss, you could be painting a completely different picture of who you are.
So our mission today is to decode that nuance. We're going to look at the emotional weight, the grammar traps.
Yeah, there are a lot of grammar traps here, by the way.
And how to sound less like a textbook and more like a real, capable native speaker.
I love that. Let's do it.
Okay, let's get into it. I want to start at the bottom of the energy ladder, the state of just passive existence. I'm talking about put up with.
Put up with, yes.
Yeah.
This is really the cornerstone of tolerance. At its core, it just means to accept something unpleasant without complaining.
Or at least without trying to stop it.
Right.
It feels incredibly heavy to me. When I hear someone say, I put up with my commute, I just picture them with their shoulders slumped. It sounds exhausting.
That visual is spot on. Put up with implies endurance, sure, but it also implies reluctance. You are not happy about it.
Right. You've just accepted that you're not going to change it. So why do we do this? Is it just laziness?
It's rarely just laziness.
Right.
It's usually a calculation. Think about the classic noisy neighbor example.
Okay.
You might put up with their drumming at 11 p.m. because the alternative, walking over there, knocking, maybe getting into an argument.
It all takes more energy.
Exactly. The friction of the solution is higher than the friction of the problem itself.
That's a great way to put it, the friction calculation. So putting up with is a trade-off. I put up with a difficult boss because I need the paycheck.
Exactly. It's a statement of resignation. And culturally, it's interesting because we use it to get sympathy. If I ask you, how do you put up with that construction noise? I'm not really asking for your strategy.
No, you're validating my pain. You're saying, wow, you're strong for not losing your mind.
It's almost a compliment to your patience.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about the mechanics here, because put up with is a grammatical minefield.
It's the structure, right? It feels a little clunky.
It's a 3-word phrasal verb, put up with. And the golden rule is you cannot break them up. They stick together.
I hear that error a lot. Someone might say, I can't put up it with, trying to jam the object in the middle.
It's a huge red flag. It sounds immediately unnatural. It's always put up with and then the object, I put up with the noise.
And if it's an action, it has to be the gerund, the ing form.
Always. I put up with waiting.
And never the infinitive. You can't say, I put up with to wait.
Never. That's a dead giveaway. After a preposition like with, you almost always need that ing form. Put up with working late, put up with driving, and so on.
Okay, so put up with is our baseline. It's passive, it's just gritting your teeth. But eventually, the friction gets too high. We decide we're done.
And that's when we cross the line into deal with. The whole energy just shifts.
It becomes active.
Completely active. It means taking action to solve a problem or manage a situation.
It sounds much more professional, doesn't it? Put up with is something I do in my pajamas. Deal with sounds like I'm holding a clipboard.
That's a perfect way to frame it. Deal with is competent. It's managerial. If putting up with is sighing about the noisy neighbor.
Then dealing with is knocking on their door or calling the landlord.
Correct. And this distinction is vital in the workplace. If an interviewer asks, how do you handle difficult customers? And you say, I put up with them.
You are definitely not getting that job.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You just told them you do nothing. You want to say, I deal with them. That implies you listen, you de-escalate, you find a solution.
I've also noticed we use deal with for just logistics. Like, I need to deal with my inbox.
Yes. It's about processing. Think of a car dealer. They're sorting, managing the flow. You deal with your taxes. You deal with a leak in the roof. You're the agent of change.
Now, grammatically, deal is an irregular verb. I feel like I hear people say dealed sometimes.
You might hear it, but please don't say it. The past tense is dealt. It rhymes with felt. I dealt with that issue yesterday.
Got it. And the with is non-negotiable.
In this context, yes. You deal with a problem.
Right.
If you just say, I deal the problem, it sounds like you're selling it on the black market.
A very different kind of dealing. Okay, before we move on, we have to talk about the meme. The pixelated sunglasses, deal with it.
Yes. The aggressive imperative. If you tell someone to deal with it, you're using it in a very specific and very dismissive way.
It's pretty rude.
Extremely. You're saying, this is the situation, I'm not changing it, and I really don't care about your feelings, you figure it out.
So, probably don't say that to your boss.
Not unless you want to find a new boss. It's a real bridge burner.
Okay, so we have put up with for tolerance, deal with for action. But life isn't just about printers and neighbors. Sometimes things hit us that are too big to just fix.
And that brings us to the heaviest phrase on our list today. Cope with.
Cope has such a different texture to it. It feels heavier.
It's deep. Cope with means to manage a difficult situation successfully. But we're talking specifically about the psychological or emotional side of things.
This is the distinction that I think confuses people most. How is coping different from dealing?
Let's use stress as an example.
Okay.
You can deal with stress by organizing your calendar or delegating tasks. Those are logistical actions.
External thing.
But coping with stress, that's about your internal state. Are you sleeping? Are you having panic attacks? It's the internal battle.
So dealing is what I do to the world, and coping is how I keep my own world from falling apart.
Exactly. We reserve cope with for significant life challenges. Grief, trauma, severe illness. You'd say she is coping with the loss of her father. You wouldn't really say she is dealing with it unless you meant she was handling the funeral arrangements.
And that sounds so cold, so administrative.
Right. But on the flip side, we have to be careful not to be overdramatic. You don't cope with a broken toaster.
I just can't cope with this slow Wi-Fi.
I mean, you can say it, but you sound like a reality TV star. Using cope for minor things really dilutes the word's power.
It makes you sound fragile.
Right. Save cope for the battles that really test your character. He's learning to cope with failure. That's a heavy concept.
And grammatically, same rules. Cope with, plus a noun.
It is. I can't cope with the pressure. And it's almost always used with abstract nouns. Pressure, stress, grief, change.
You don't cope with a chair.
Unless it's haunted. And even then, you'd probably just run.
Got it. Okay, so put up with is passive, deal with is active, cope with is emotional survival. But there's one more state. The point where the tolerance meter just hits 0.
The explosion. Can't stand.
I love this phrase. It's so visceral. I can't stand it.
It is the breaking point. It means to strongly dislike something, to find it unbearable. It's much stronger than I don't like it. But it's a little more socially acceptable than saying I hate it.
It feels physical. Like, I can't stand the smell of cigarette smoke. It implies that if I stay here, I might actually get sick.
Yes, a limit has been reached. I can't stand waiting in long lines. I can't stand people chewing with their mouths open.
Oh, that's my number one. I absolutely cannot stand that. I have to leave the room.
See? It triggers a physical reaction. And there's something really important about the grammar here. This one is the outlier of the group.
It breaks the pattern.
It does. The other three all rely on that preposition with. Can't stand does not use with.
So I don't say, I can't stand with the noise.
Never. You say, I can't stand the noise. It takes a direct object. Or a gerund. I can't stand waiting.
What about the infinitive? Can I say, I can't stand to wait?
You can, actually. This is the exception. It's especially common with verbs of perception, like seeing or hearing. I can't stand to see him suffer. But the gerund or noun is always a safe bet.
Is it rude to say, if I say, I can't stand this music at a dinner party?
It's blunt. It's not profane, but it is strong. It shuts down enjoyment. If you say, I can't stand this heat, that's fine. If you say, I can't stand your cooking,
You will not be invited back.
not a chance.
Okay, so we've dissected them. But the real magic is seeing how they interact because we switch between these constantly.
That's that agency idea we started with. Changing the verb changes the whole story.
Let's do a case study. A workplace scenario. Two coworkers, Anna and Ben, are grabbing coffee, and Ben is venting about their micromanager, Gary.
Classic Gary. So Ben might start with, I can't stand Gary. He checks my work 3 times a day.
Okay, so he's at his limit. Unbearable. He's in the can't stand zone.
Exactly. He's just reacting. And Anna, wanting to know his strategy, asks, so how are you dealing with it?
She pushes him toward action. She's his deal with. What's the plan?
And Ben just sighs and says, honestly, for the most part, I just put up with it. I need this job.
And there's the tragedy. He hates it, but his strategy is passive. He feels stuck.
Exactly. But maybe he tries to reclaim a little power. He adds, well, I try to deal with it by sending him updates before he even asks.
That's smart. So he's dealing with the workflow to avoid putting up with the direct interaction.
He's managing the friction. But then Anna drops a bombshell. She says, you know, I had a boss like that once. I tried to stick it out, but I just couldn't cope with the anxiety. I had to quit.
Whoa. So for her, the stakes were completely different. It wasn't just annoying. It was a threat to her mental health. She couldn't cope.
And because she couldn't cope, she had to take the ultimate action. You see how the severity escalates. If you can't stand something, you might put up with it. But if you can't cope with it, you have to leave.
That hierarchy is so helpful. Cope is really the end of the line for endurance. Let's do one more, a family dynamic.
Oh, good one. The rules of engagement are totally different there.
For sure. You tolerate things from your uncle that you would never tolerate from a stranger.
Exactly. So about a rude uncle, you might say, I can't stand his political rants.
But I put up with them because it's Thanksgiving and I don't want to upset my grandma.
The obligation factor, put up with, is often driven by a social contract. But maybe your mom is the peacekeeper. She deals with him.
Right. She's the one changing the subject, refilling his drink, steering him away from trouble. She's taking action.
She's managing the situation. And maybe, privately, she's just coping with the stress of holding it all together.
It's a full ecosystem of verbs in one dinner. That's amazing.
Welcome to the holidays.
Okay, let's do a lightning round to lock this in. I'll give you a mindset. You give me the phrasal verb. Ready?
I was born ready.
All right, scenario 1. I have a problem. I hate it, but I'm doing absolutely nothing.
You are putting up with it. Passive tolerance.
Scenario 2. I have a problem. I'm on the phone. I'm writing emails. I am fixing it.
You are dealing with it. Active resolution.
Scenario 3. The problem is inside my head. It's heavy. I'm just trying to survive it mentally.
You are coping with it. Psychological survival.
And scenario 4. Get this away from me immediately. It makes my skin crawl.
You can't stand it. The breaking point.
Perfect. And a final grammar check.
Put up with, deal with, and cope with all need the with. Deal becomes dealt in the past. And can't stand is the lone wolf, no with, allowed.
I think that covers the toolkit. It's amazing how these small words completely change the landscape of a conversation.
It's everything. It adds color and depth. You're not just reporting events, you're reporting your relationship to those events.
So here's our challenge to you, the listener. The next time you feel that spike of annoyance, take a split second and pause.
Ask yourself, what mode am I in? Am I just putting up with this, or am I dealing with it?
Which brings us all the way back to agency.
It does. And I want to leave you with a slightly provocative thought. We often think our feelings dictate our words. I feel passive, so I say I put up with it.
Right.
But what if it works the other way around too?
Meaning our words dictate our feelings.
Exactly. If you constantly tell yourself, I just have to put up with this, you are reinforcing a neural pathway of helplessness. You're programming your brain to be passive.
That's a little scary, but also hopeful.
Very hopeful. Because if you force yourself to switch the verb, if you just ask, how can I deal with this? You might actually trigger your brain to switch into problem-solving mode.
Wow. That's powerful. So the grammar correction might actually be a life correction.
It's possible. Words are tools.
Yeah.
So look at your life. Are you putting up with something that you should actually be dealing with?
From phrasal verbs to existential philosophy. That is why we do the deep dive. Thank you so much for walking us through this.
My pleasure.
And thank you for listening. Go out there and deal with it. We'll see you next time.